Alright, guys, so I want to speak on Rihanna culture and the Arawak connection. Just something brief. I'm not going to hold you all too long, but I analyze things and I pay attention to. Now I'm paying attention to a lot more as far as what people wear, how they express themselves and stuff, because there's always a cultural connection. Um, but I just wanted to kind of do a little bit about that, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more just about how ways in which our culture is still alive and we keep it alive. So this image right here is actually Rihanna at the 2019 Crop Over Festival. So she wore like this big pink feather dress. So yeah, and she's known for being a woman who speaks her mind. She's feisty. She um, just she really just kind of goes to the beat of her own drum. She's now the first female musician billionaire. I mean, she's just doing a lot of great things for herself and for her family, and really putting herself out there. So I was like, well, let me do this. I saw this article like almost a week ago. I wanted to jump on it then and there, but I had so much going on. But anyway, let's get into it. So it is said that her mother is Afro-Guyanese. And we know that, that Afro term, I'm not saying that her mother is not mixed with African, but we know that a lot of times, too, that term, along with the term Negro and things, are used to describe indigenous people. Um, so her mother's from Guyana, which originally is a place of different Arawak tribes, and indigenous people of those tribes are still in South America, still in the Caribbean today, and some of these people have been scattered throughout the Americas, such as all the way up into North America. Guyana is in South America, just in case y'all don't know. Um, and I'm going to show you all a map of the locations and stuff in a second. But it said that her father is of mixed Irish and African descent, but Rihanna herself is from Barbados. And this image is the image that actually went viral when she posted it on her Instagram back in 2017. Because, I mean, just the way, it's just beautiful. Like the feathers, they're really just like bright neon colors, and then like the jewels and everything. It's just a beautiful photo. Her shape's beautiful. So of course, this image will go viral. But yes. So this is her culture. It's the culture of people who are in like the Caribbean and South America. They have the carnivals, the festivals, and just different things of that nature. um, which are these are now being brought into North America as well, because as people who are from South America and the Caribbean move on up into North America, they're also bringing their culture too. So now you can find like they have the carnival in Toronto. They have one in Toronto in Canada too. So, and I think they also have them like in New York and places where there's just like a good population of um, West Indians. So here's a map of Guyana. That's Guyana is actually an indigenous word. Um, comes from the indigenous people in that area, and it means the land of water. And so it's in South America. So here's Guyana, and here's the Caribbean Sea here. So this is where Rihanna's mother is from. And let's just do a close up on the Caribbean Sea. Here is Barbados, and I believe she's from Bridgetown, which is like the capital of Barbados. So just so y'all have a map, an actual map of where she's from. So this is just a very, very brief description. I'm not going to share all of this, but I just want to share a little bit of a historical background as to um, pearls and things of that nature. Pearls in particular being worn, and how just calling this dead, because I always have to share information. So this is from The Brief Relation of the Devastation of the Indies by Bartholomew de las Casas, who was like, I believe he was like a priest or something, and he was just recording he was European, and he was recording all the wickedness that these European colonists were doing to Indians. He knew it was wrong, and he was just so disgusted by it. He was like, "Let me write this down." Um, so he said the tyranny exercised by Spaniards against Indians in the work of pearl fishing is one of the most cruel that can be imagined. Pearl fishers dive into the sea at a depth of 5 fathoms and do this from sunrise to sunset and remain for many minutes without breathing. So they're under the water. He said, tearing oysters out of the rocky beds where the pearls are formed. He said they come to the surface with a netted bag of these oysters where a Spanish torturer is waiting in a canoe or skiff, and if the pearl diver shows signs of wanting to rest, he's showered with blows. His hair is pulled and he's thrown back into the water, obliged to continue the hard work of tearing out the oysters and bringing them again to the surface. So this is just the type of torture that they put Indians through, because they already knew, hey, they're used to swimming, going in the water. They have pearls. They have these things, so they're going to be used to it. They can get it for us. They didn't care about the livelihood of and those of us who do have this Arawak ancestry, you know, may feel some kind of way. I'm feeling some kind of way because I have that ancestry, but this is just the wickedness that they subjected, our people to. So, but they knew that these Indians were great swimmers. Just as he says, for all the Indians of the islands are known to be great swimmers. So they didn't care. They're like, they already know how to do it. They know how to swim. They've gotten pearls before. They've gotten the shells. They know how to do this stuff. Get it for us. We want to wear it. We want to sell it. We want to do whatever. This is just essentially what European colonists do to this day. They do the same shit. But I just wanted to share a little bit of historical background of how they were treating us and our people because of the fact that they themselves couldn't do the shit, never can. So they always have to get people stronger and try to and dominate them. Okay. But anyway, if you were a tribe that lived on the coast or on an island, you had access to shells, pearls, fish, and other type of sea creatures, especially. So tribes in those areas tended to trade with tribes that were inland, and that's how the inland tribes got these materials. Okay, so like I said, obviously these were the Indians that were used to fishing. Okay, they were accustomed to it, not to the extent that the Spanish were making them do it, to where it's like if they didn't find anything, the Spanish would hit them and beat them, push them back into the water, and like he said, pull their hair. He said when they came up, they would look like just dogs because of being under the water for so long. So this is what this excerpt in particular was about the Lucayans. So yeah, it was crazy. So here's a picture of, this was what made me make this video. It was like, it was an article on Elle magazine, and it was like, how does the woman who's a billionaire, this is how she goes to the grocery store, or something like that. I'm actually going to pull it up now. It says, Rihanna went late night grocery shopping in an open jacket and so many pearls. So it says, how does a billionaire dress to grocery shop? If you're Rihanna, now the wealthiest female musician in the world, you pair acid wash jeans with pearls, a preppy jacket, and New York basketball, whatever. So this is what she wore to the grocery store. You could tell she's just fed up with the paparazzi. She's like, please get the hell out of my face. But when I saw the way that these pearls are stacked on her, it took me back to what an elder told me when they were like, we wore multiple necklaces. And that also took me back to what I used to do when I was a young girl, or younger girl, like a little girl. I would wear multiple bracelets on me, maybe a choker, and then a necklace that was a little bit longer. And so it just goes to show you that no matter what type of programming that these European colonizers put us under, our culture, who we are, our behavior, our practices is still in our DNA. And so here she is wearing a necklace that has stacked pearls. And then she's wearing another necklace too. It looks like she's probably wearing about three, two or three necklaces, or two necklaces that are multiple strands necklaces. So I was like, I gotta do a video. I gotta talk about this. Um, so yeah. And I also came across this picture when I was trying to look the picture of Rihanna up again, and just came across a picture of just pearls, and it says Blue Ivy. This is actually her in her mother's film and Beyonce's film Black is King. So we see her with a crown with pearls on it, and then we also see her with a necklace of pearls. And I'm sharing this because this video is about the culture. It's about how we still practice it. And Beyonce's mother is from Louisiana. They're of Creole heritage. So this is, again, that's in their blood too. So let's look at what American Indians and Louisiana wore, because we know that's too also on the coastal areas. So Louisiana American Indians, it says, and this is an excerpt from Louisiana State Museum online. It says Native American women also manufactured all the clothing. Popular clothing materials were feathers, bark, cloth, and hides, as well as furs from deer, bear, bison, and smaller game animals. Both men and women fashioned such body ornaments as necklaces, bracelets, armbands, rings, and ear and nose plugs. If you don't know what ear and nose plugs are, those are gauges. So when you stretch your ears, they get bigger. That's what those are. From locally available shells and pearls and imported copper. So this is still practiced today. I just showed you guys an image of Blue Ivy. We always see Beyonce wearing feathers. We've seen that over the years just throughout her career. The necklaces, the rings, the furs, different things like that. So different types of cloths, just different type of things. Her mother is a seamstress. Her mother designs. I don't know if she still designs her costumes, but she did. She probably has help in doing it, but yeah. So again, it's in your blood. It's part of your culture. So you're still gonna do it, even if you're calling yourself something else. And I also wanted to add in an image, a drawing of South Carolina Indians. This is obviously a European artist depiction because they look straight up European, but South Carolina and Barbados has a strong link. A colonist, I can't remember his name, but he wanted to start a settlement in South Carolina, and he hoped to do that with settlers from Barbados. So a lot of settlers from Barbados moved to the South Carolina Low Country, and so they call it kind of like a colony of a colony, basically. So there was like this going back and forth with the settlers between South Carolina and Barbados. Also, they were taking those whom they enslaved back and forth before they even came over, here to the Americas. We were already going back and forth. So you had Florida used to be connected to, it still is connected. It's just it's under, a lot of the land is underwater, but you could just walk that land to go straight to what is now considered the Caribbean. Okay. So we were just closely connected and would go from here to there and there to here. Even now, today, there's, people from the Caribbean and things that will move to the Southeastern region of America, so as far north as North America, Canada, New York, stuff like that. So it's just like we've always traveled back and forth even before the interruption of European colonialism, okay? So just had to make that clear. But so in this image, we have the men who are some of them are in cloth around their waist, and they have the beads on. They have the ear gauges, so their ears are stretched. Their hair is pulled up in a bun. And we have the women here in skirts made of Spanish moss and bead necklaces. This is how they would dress when it was warm, when it was hot outside, but when it was cold, they would wear deerskins. So, among the tribes in South Carolina, also, South Carolina coast in particular, they wore pearls. And so, like I said, pearls were worn among coastal tribes. Those coastal tribes would get those pearls and things like that. Those who traded with them would wear them as well. So, in speaking of South Carolina coastal tribes, this is an excerpt from Huat and Carol. I don't know if I said that person's name right, but they wrote a lot about South Carolina, the history of South Carolina. So, pearls were obtained from the rivers, and they knew how to pierce them. So, this is an excerpt that was speaking of Indians in South Carolina and just what they did with pearls. Another excerpt says, another country near Duhare is called Shapita. Pearls are found there, and also a kind of stone resembling pearls, which is much prized by the Indians. So this is speaking of, I think this actually is in South Carolina, but obviously indigenous people had their own names for areas, and then when Europeans came, they gave the names that they wanted to these same areas. So if you see like, what's that? Where is that? Where is that at? Well, that's probably why you can't find it. Clothing of tribes in warmer and hot climates, like I said before, there was fewer clothing because as indigenous people in pre-colonial times, our ancestors dressed based on what climate they were in, had nothing to do with religion, sexuality, as far as like being afraid to show yourself because you're going to be slut shamed and just all of this stupid, petty, ignorant shit. Okay? It wasn't like that. Maybe the men wore a cloth around their waist, or maybe they wore like the leaves around their waist. So there were skirts made of leaf or cloth among the Taino, or so-called Taino, because they didn't call themselves that. But anyway, the women wore naguas, and naguas are basically skirts made of cloth. And married women wore longer naguas, and unmarried women wore short naguas. And the women usually were bare-breasted, or and also they wore bead necklaces. Sometimes the beads covered the breasts. They may have not sometimes. But like I said, the body wasn't sexualized as it is now. So it wasn't like, oh my God, their breasts. It's just like it's a part of your body. It's not anything perverted. So, and I wanted to also show a few artistic depictions of Tainos and other Arawaks. Now remember, these are artists that are making these images, so they're going to make it based on what they want to make these images on. So please don't get offended by these images that you see. Just, I'm making a point here. So we see the women have nothing on their breasts. They're bare-breasted. They're wearing like jewelry, things of that nature, but they are bare-breasted. And so this is how it was. In this one, she's wearing a skirt. This image is by, I think her name is Christina. I can't remember. And I tried to look it back up and couldn't find it. But I love this depiction. I love it. The colors pop out. Anyway, I'm not going to get all artsy on y'all. But these are other depictions of some Arawaks. This one is an older one by I think it's a European artist named Stedman. But I absolutely love this one because she's like holding the bird up. She has the bow and arrow. She's bare-breasted. She has her skirt on. I love that image. The Nagua. And this is a depiction of ANACAONA from the book ANACAONA, Golden Flower by Edwidge Dantucat. And it is like, it's a good book for like children, probably like age 8 and up, 7 and up, if they could read. That kind of talks about like the history. It puts it in a story format. But anyway, in this image we see she has on the skirt. Her stomach is showing here. Her breasts are covered by leaves. She has on chief, or rather cacica apparel, which is why she has on the feathers and the elaborate necklace. This is clothing of a cacique right here. So, but I absolutely love this image too. This is so beautiful to me. Just like what she's wearing, just her face. I love it. facial expression. And then I also wanted to add in an image. This is by Daniel Parada, and it's of the Timucua. And so the Timucua Indians were in Florida. So they were also near the Caribbean, and they were in the Southeast, you know. So they were in the northern part of Florida, the northern central part of Florida, and on up into southeastern Georgia. So this is how the women would dress. Again, bare breasts. They have on their necklaces, they have on their armbands, they're painted, they've got on their earrings, very feminine, you know, nothing perverted. They just are doing their thing, they're cooking, okay? So I just thought this was a very, very beautiful image, and I was like, I want to add this in here. Like, I love this image. Um, but yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say. Is just like, we still have those remnants of our culture. There's still, we're still practicing it, whether these people know who they are, whether these people don't know who they are. I mean, we know Rihanna's West Indian. I always wonder, like, people say West Indian, but when they see people who are like darker than Rihanna, especially, they always say African. And I'm not saying that there was no Africans taken to the Caribbean, taken to South America, but it's like they don't act like any indigenous people ever existed there, as if all the indigenous people were killed off. And it's just really because of the miseducation that the American school systems have done. They've purposely omitted information, you know, for their own agenda to continue to leech off of indigenous land, so, and resources. So I was like, let me do this quick video just to show this. I also wanted to explain, like, yo, the body has nothing to do with sexualizing, rather perverting the body. There's nothing wrong with being nude. There's nothing wrong with having bare breasts. This is part of our culture. The pearls, the multiple necklaces. Let me see here, because I think they had it in this image. Yes, so the women are wearing multiple necklaces here. This was how, definitely how Southeastern indigenous tribes dressed. This is how the jewelry was. It was like multiple necklaces worn at one time, bracelets, the body paint, things of that nature. We still do it. Makeup is face paint. We may not do it like we used to, because now we're doing it more in a colonized way. But makeup is face paint, and that's something that I know the people that I descend from. I have different indigenous tribes in my bloodline, but in my family lineage, but face paint was definitely something that was practiced. Bare breasts. So whenever, like, I'm a certain way, or I'm looking a certain way, or, you know, I may wear something that shows my cleavage, it has nothing to do with sexualization. It has nothing to do with, you know, me wanting to offer my body to anybody. I understand and I know that I own my body. This is just something that my ancestors did and have done. I don't like wearing a whole bunch of clothes unless it's cold. If it's hot, I don't want to wear a bunch of stuff. That's just natural. So, you know, this whole idea that people have, and I'm getting into this right now, this whole idea that people have of sexualizing the body comes from colonists. And so that's why when I talk to people, if it pertains to anything indigenous, I'm like, my efforts are to decolonize. Decolonize your mind. Decolonize your mind, because it's hindering you from a lot of things. It's instilling this fear in you to make it to where you're paralyzed. You won't move, you won't grow, you won't do things. You know, you won't get back to just that free state of being that your ancient ancestors were. And so that's my whole reason for sharing this information on this channel, for showing these things, for showing that, hey, our culture is still here, still very much alive. We're still practicing it. Yeah, it's modernized. Yeah, it's a little bit colonized, but it's still in our blood, that Indian shit. So that's all I had to say for you guys tonight, check out my Attic Indigo shop. That's in the description box. Get my book, Prayers, Musings, and Poetry. I'm actually going to be reading a few excerpts from that book on this channel pretty soon, so check that out. And also, Wednesday night, me and my girl, Lily Wildfire, are going to be speaking on Haiti Quisquea, so Haiti and spirituality and the Indigenous connection, because people really need to know what's going on, why things are happening the way they are with Haiti, why a lot of people are ignoring what's happening with Haiti, why they want you to ignore what's happening with Haiti, and the major role that this island, okay, and particularly that part of the island, plays in the history of Indigenous peoples in the Americas, especially in the Caribbean, Latin America, and the Southeastern region of North America. So we are all connected. We're going to go into that. We're really going to dive into that. So y'all don't want to miss it. We're going to be live. So subscribe to this channel. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday the 25th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So subscribe, click the bell to be notified. You won't want to miss this. We really want to hear what y'all have to say. We really want to hear your thoughts. And we're actually really excited about this, like really pumped. Like our ancestors are just like, get this out, get this out, get this out. Yeah, so anyway, I'm not going to hold y'all any longer. I didn't mean to make this video that long. So stay tuned. Don't forget to tune in Wednesday night, and have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.